The UGA got started in 1925. The effort began about 10 years prior to that, but after frustration and being told no over and over and over again, a collection of eight black men and women congregated right here in Washington, D.C., and decided to start what is now called United Golfers Association. We've been around for 100 years now at this point, but that didn't come with a lot of no's, a lot of kicks, a lot of roadblocks and obstacles, to be fair, that we just kept coming across. And so what ended up happening is we started, but then we got to around, I think about 10 years later, there was something that we now call the whites only clause that the PGA of America put inside of their bylaws. And basically what that said is that to be a member to either teach and or play at that time, you had to be a white male born in North America. Well, as you can imagine, as an organization that had been around for 10 years at that point, what was happening is that the industry started seeing growth, right? The tide started to rise. We see things changing. See things changing. And then what happened at that point, there was a huge roadblock. And so now it wasn't just about being told no, we couldn't play in events. There was something in writing now that said, no, you can't. And so there should never be a reason why any person of color who wants to play in a competitive golf event as an amateur or professional has to hire an attorney and a judge to get permission to actually, or a green light to go play in a tournament. And that happened well over 50 times, from Joe Lewis to Teddy Rhodes, and so many others, that they had to go to next level kind of needs to go actually get something accomplished. A lot of things happened, obviously continued up until 1948. We had continued to actually start doing, having lawsuits against PGA of America at the time, trying to get them obviously to release and take that off of their documents. It took about 13 to 14 years for that to actually stop, which it did in 1961. Once that happened, it was great to take it off the paper. But, that was just the paper. So what ended up happening is they said, even though there was a green light, there was still obstacles. And those obstacles came with them actually changing the terms of what they called opens to now being called invitationals. So now, like they say, moving the tee back, right? Moving the goalpost back. So now again, no, no, no. And we kept fighting because black folks are resilient. We've been doing this for a couple 100 years, maybe more. We know it's more, right? But in that, we fight hard and we fight with passion and grit, but sometimes you get broken down, and players like Charlie Sifford, knowing that he had the talent, he should have been probably the first African American to play in the Masters. But because of, they may have not liked the fact that it was him and may have decided to actually move things around so that they moved it back a little bit. But to say and move forward is where we are now to where we were, is that yes, we've come along, but we're still less than 1% of the PGA professionals teaching. We're still less than 1% of the black females on the LPGA who are teaching as well, who have their certification. We're less than 1% of the PGA Tour players. Less than 1% of the black female LPGA Tour players. Actually, there are no black women right now playing on the LPGA Tour. Zero. We do have a few sisters playing on the Epson Tour, which is phenomenal, but we still need to get there. And the numbers, for the most part, and for us as black folks, we are always typically less than 1%. We're not 1% of the population. We're not 1% of the spend, but why is it that we're always less than 1% when it comes to competing for jobs, competing to get on the tour, and competing to compete even as a junior golfer or a collegiate player. At some point, it'll change, and we're hoping that UGA, with all of our new partnerships and alliances, will get that taken care of soon.